Good evening. You're watching AWANI Tonight with me, Farhana Sheikh. The Pakatan Harapan candidate for the upcoming Sungai Bakap by-election will be unveiled next week. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim, who is also Pakatan chairman, said that they have shortlisted the names with many of them qualified to contest for the seat.
Tarikh saya minta Timbalan Presiden Rafizi umum tengok tarikh yang sesuai minggu depan. Tapi selalunya prosesnya kita bincang pimpinan parti sudah, tapi pimpinan PH, PN kita maklum dalam kajian perpaduan. Okey? Okey, thank you. Setakat ini dicadangkan begitu, tapi kita muktamadkan dalam mesyuarat.
Alright.
The Sungai Bakap state seat is vacant following the death of its incumbent, past Assemblyman Nur Zamri Latif, on May 24th. The Election Commission has set July 6 for polling day, with nomination of candidates on June 22nd and early voting scheduled for July 2nd.
Meanwhile, Barisan Nasional has acknowledged that the Sungai Bakap seat in Penang previously belonged to PKR. BN Secretary General Datuk Seri Zamri Abdul Kadir said, therefore, the question of who from BN will be fielded as a candidate in the upcoming Sungai Bakap state by-election does not arise. Instead, he said Barisan would give its full support to whoever is chosen as the Madani government's candidate for the polls. PKR used to hold the Sungai Bakap state seat for 3 consecutive terms until the 2023 state elections, where Nur Zamri Latif of PAS won against PKR's Nur Hidayah Cik Rus. There is a need to address the shortage of geriatric specialists as Malaysia moves towards an ageing population, says Health Minister Datuk Seri Dr. Zulkifli Ahmad. He adds that his ministry is looking at incentives to encourage more people to specialise in this area. According to Zulkifli, there were only 33 geriatric specialists working in public health facilities. Another 13 worked for hospitals under the Higher Education Ministry, and 14 more worked in private hospitals around the country. This was not enough to cope with the ageing population. Zulkifli said his ministry's target was to increase the number of geriatric specialists by 8 every year. He noted that only University Malaya currently offers a geriatric specialization, with only 3 to 8 students enrolling each year. About 15% of Malaysia's population is expected to be aged 60 and above by 2030. Over 11,700 students scored straight A's in their Sijil Pelajaran Malaysia or SPM 2023 examinations. At the same time, 75% of the total 373,525 candidates barely made the cut, scoring just enough to pass or failing at least one subject. We discussed the factors affecting the disparity in students' results and the importance of collaborative support for academic success.
So the factors that affecting the disparity between these, I think mostly it's the main thing is about class issue actually, because I feel from Asian Journal of University of Education, produced by UiTM 2022 by Malika Vasugi, it mentions that factors affecting the low scores of students is first parents' encouragement or involvement in their education, teachers, such as what Bernard mentioned, their environment, socio-economic factors, and also their motivation. So these 4 things are what affecting, what I would say, factors affecting the progress or the achievement of the students. We can see that people with parents' encouragement, people with high the motivation, that have support from their teachers in private schools, they don't have these problems because they still will achieve good marks, excellent marks. But people who don't have this kind of support and structures for them, this is where it will affect their marks actually. So I feel this disparity can be seen more as a class issue, where people who don't have these factors for them, these support structures, will mainly be falling behind in their studies.
Meanwhile, Pemimpin GSL's Bernard Au highlights the importance of proper guidance to help students plan their futures beyond SPM.
So based on another survey called the Post-SPM Decision Making Survey in 2023 made by FinCo, so they talk about how 88% of students are unable to identify 2 next steps they need to do to plan their career beyond the SPM. So I think this shows us that they are not really sure what to do beyond SPM, and perhaps that it's because of the lack of direction. They are not too sure why is this SPM important at all. Like, where can this bring me, right? What is the point of doing this? And perhaps that's something that we need to highlight a bit more. I understand that in school we have the bimbingan counseling, the counseling teacher who is already doing this, but I think the capacity on their end is also very, very little, right? There's only one counseling teacher to 500 students in our government school. So I think in this area, if we can strengthen that a bit more with collaborations with NGO, for example, to highlight what are the career options after SPM, open their eyes and let them see the world. I think that will really motivate them to focus on the exam as well.
Tune in to the full conversation on It's About Youth with new episodes every Friday, 10:30 p.m. only on Astro AWANI.
We'll go for a quick break. Stay tuned for more.
Daulat Tuanku.
Welcome back. 50 days before the start of the 2024 Summer Games, Paris has unveiled a display of the Olympic rings on the Eiffel Tower. The capital's iconic monument will be at the heart of the Olympic Games, with the beach volleyball competitions taking place at the feet of the Iron Lady. The 29 by 13 meter construction made from recycled steel was installed on the south side of the tower. Pieces of steel taken from the Eiffel Tower have also been used as part of the Paris 2024 medals. The 2024 Olympic Games will take place from July 26 to August 11th. Sporting events will be divided across 35 venues, scattered throughout Paris, Marseille, Versailles, the Parisian suburb of Colombo, and Tahiti for surfing. Also, for the first time in Olympic history, the opening ceremony would take place outside of a stadium. Proceedings are set to be staged along the Seine River with boats representing each national delegation of athletes. In other news, 11 people were taken to hospitals as they waited to enter a campaign rally with former US President Donald Trump. Trump took the stage shortly after 5 p.m. local time at Mega Church in Phoenix, where the temperature was at 44 degrees Celsius.
Supporters began lining up early outside the Phoenix Dream City Church to see Trump speak. It was the former president's first rally since his criminal conviction in the New York hush money case, in which he was found guilty of falsifying business records in connection with a payment to adult film actress Stormy Daniels. In his 90-minute address, Trump repeated accusations that the case was politically motivated and called for the conviction to be overturned. An excessive heat warning was issued in Phoenix on Friday, urging people to limit their time outdoors and stay hydrated. Just 2 weeks before the official start of the summer season, the National Weather Service forecasts record-breaking temperatures in central California, as well as parts of Nevada and Arizona. Trump is expected to hold a campaign rally in Las Vegas on Sunday, another city predicted to see record temperatures in the coming weeks.
The Philippine Coast Guard has accused China of blocking efforts to evacuate a sick member of the armed forces in the South China Sea. A Coast Guard spokesperson says its Navy boats were harassed by Chinese vessels, despite informing them that the operation was of a medical emergency. The incident, which the Philippines said took place last month, involved a member of a small contingent of Marines sent to guard the BRP Sierra Madre. It is a Philippine vessel grounded at the disputed Second Thomas Shoal, the site of repeated confrontations with China over the past year. The Philippine Coast Guard described the blockade as a barbaric and inhumane behavior. It accused its Chinese counterpart of engaging in dangerous maneuvers and deliberately ramming a naval vessel. China's foreign ministry said it would allow the Philippines to deliver supplies and evacuate personnel if Manila notified Beijing in advance. However, it warned Manila not to use this as an excuse to transport construction materials to its naval vessels in an attempt to permanently occupy the Second Thomas Shoal. Covering over 70% of the Earth's surface, oceans are an important life source for all, though they face significant threats from climate change to pollution. Ahead of World Oceans Day, celebrated annually on the 8th of June, youth climate advocate Mogesh Sababati shares the threats facing Malaysia's oceans and what more we can do to protect them.
In Malaysia, the challenges are multifaceted, right? I mean, some of the recent issues that happened and kind of surfaced in the news recently was, Malaysia ranking the third among the world's top ocean polluters in the world, which, of course, contributed significantly by plastic waste in the ocean. And if I can also cite two very, very alarming reports just very recently released, a report noted that Malaysia ranks the highest among 109 countries in consuming microplastics, which, microplastics are essentially the plastic particles that are smaller than 5 millimeters. And it reported that Malaysia's microplastic consumption was mainly 50% at least from fish consumption. This is extremely alarming, right? And another report also says that we're currently experiencing our fourth global coral bleaching event since the last bleaching event happened between 2014 and 2017. This is extremely concerning because Malaysia is part of the Coral Triangle, which is where globally most abundant and diverse coral species are found.
Mogesh highlights the importance of having a national policy to address marine affairs.
Considering us as a maritime nation, we still do not have a comprehensive national plan to manage and monitor marine resources. I think this is one of the biggest challenge or gaps that we need to address, right? Where we're looking at policy fragmentation and the lack of centralized management of oceans, right? So we definitely need a comprehensive national ocean policy and a marine spatial plan, because there's an overlap of jurisdiction among government agencies, which of course it leads to inefficiency and a lot of confusions. And till date, we still do not have a single agency that is fully responsible for managing maritime affairs. And of course, this is putting a lot at stake. This is a very fragmented approach to ocean governance, and of course it also weakens the overall effectiveness of a lot of conservation efforts that's out there.
He also shares ways everyone can contribute to protecting our oceans.
What can we do as Malaysians to help to protect the ocean? The simplest thing, the very simple thing that you can try to do is to reduce plastic use, right? Opt for reusable alternatives. Start with your water bottles, bags, and straws. Next, you can try to minimize activities that contribute to greenhouse gas emissions. Use energy and water especially efficiently to reduce runoff and wastewater that eventually will reach to the oceans. And most importantly, always educate yourself and others, right? Spread awareness about the importance of ocean conservation, because it's about making conscious choices, because what we don't see happening does not mean it's not happening.
That wraps up AWANI tonight. I'm Farhana Sheikh. Thank you for watching.